Hi guys, it's Sherry. I hope that y'all are having a wonderful day. Well, it is another rainy day here in North Carolina. And for those of you in the North Carolina area, I hope that you're managing to stay drier than I am because it has been raining buckets all day. I did come out earlier when the rain lightened just a little bit, but now it has started to just downpour. So I'm pretty much stuck out here until it lets up just a little bit. And then when I finally decide to go in, I've got to trek through wet grass and mud just to get back into the house. So fun, fun, fun. So today's project is keeping in theme with the paper that I have been using all week. And it's this really cute Zella Teal paper by Prima. And I decided to make it into a notepad. And I cut my own paper for the notepad, and I'll show you how I did that. And then on the side, I added 3 little envelopes, just mini envelopes, so that if you wanted, you could put all types of tags on the inside. So let's get started on making this. You will need some chipboard, 2 pieces that measure 8 1/8 by 4, 1 piece that measures 5/8 by 8 1/8. And then you're going to need some type of a notepad. So let me show you guys how I cut the notepad for this because I didn't have any that fit. So what I started with was just a regular legal size notepad. And I placed it against my grid marks here so that I could get it down to 8 inches. So then what I did is I marked off 8 inches. So I'm starting here at 18. You can't see this number, but I'm starting at 18. And I'll go to 26. And then I made a mark. And then here's my 26 mark right here. And I'll make another mark. So then I took my ruler, placed it on my mark just right before it so that the mark won't show. And then using my finger X-Acto knife, I just started cutting through. Now you can get these cut at the office supply store to your specifications, but sometimes they'll charge you per cut. So this is just an easy and inexpensive way to do your own. So now that I've got it reduced in size, I now want to cut it at 4 inches. So I'm going to place it here. I'm going to place it first at 29, get my marks right, and come over to 25, mark it here, and then just do an indentation there. And then I can come back with my ruler and X-Acto knife, and make some cuts. And as long as you're pressing down, your cut should be nice and straight. Okay, so then it's left like this. And then all I'll do is turn it so that I can put the necessary pressure on this end just to keep pulling back and cutting. Sorry if I'm shaking the camera. And then once you've got it cut the way that you want, you can come back in and clean up your edges. I'm going to cover this. So that's how you can cut it down to customize the size of your notepad if you want to. Or you can buy pre-cut notepads. But I wanted my notepad to be 3 3/4 by 8. So I was able to use that technique that I just showed you to cut this one down to size. And this one that I just cut in front of you, I cut it at 4x8 because I do want to make another pad using those measurements. So I'm going to set that one to the side. I'm going to get my decorative paper so that we can put this beautiful notepad together. So this piece of decorative paper measures 10 3/4 by 10 1/2, and I am just going to place my chipboard, leaving about close to an inch on the sides, and then I'll go back and cut off any excess. And then I'm going to take my 5/8 by 8 1/8 piece and place it down. I'm going to give myself just a little bit more than 1/8 of an inch in spacing, and then I'll take the second piece and place it down. And all of the measurements for this project will be in the description box, so you don't need to worry about writing down the sizes or the process. So now I'll come back and I'm just going to smooth out my tape, and then I will just start training my paper to fold over the chipboard. Stand it up and just do this on all 4 sides. And now I'll come back and remove some of this excess. And I am going to miter cut my corners. And then for those of you who might not be too confident in your miter cutting skills, I am going to show you a little trick that was shared with me by Francine. And Francine, please forgive me if I butcher the pronunciation of your last name, but I believe that it's Langlois, and Francine is in Canada. So what she does is she will take a piece of the triangle that's been cut out and place it right in the corner, so that if her miter cutting isn't exactly perfect, then she has got the chipboard already covered and you won't even notice that it's off. And I think this is an awesome tip, so she passed it along to me and I thought I would share it with you guys. And I love it when you guys give me tips, because then I'm able to share them, and they certainly do help out other crafters. So thank you, Francine, for sharing this wonderful tip. All right, I'm going to put the last one down. Okay, so there, we've got it down, and I'm going to come back and just smooth that down. And now what I'll do is I'll come in with my tape, and I want to go ahead and just tape the spine piece. And I'll lift that up. And I'm going to just glue this, because I see that I am running low on tape on this roll and I didn't bring out another roll of tape. So all I'm going to do is fold this up, come back with my bone folder and get it stuck. And then I'll come over to the opposite end and do the same thing. And I know that some of you have been on the hunt for this paper, and unfortunately it is discontinued. But being the paper hoarder that I am, when I find a paper that I really like, I will buy a lot of the same pattern. So this paper, as well as the pattern that I used on the notebook that I made earlier, when I saw it, I knew that I had to have a lot of it. So a couple of years ago when it came out, I just placed an order for bunches and bunches of it. So if you find some paper that you like, you may want to go ahead and place orders for it, because companies like Prima, Authentique, My Mind's Eye, all of those guys discontinue patterns just like a retail store moves on in the season with clothing. They discontinue and move on with the next season's item. So once it's discontinued, it's really hard to find it. Okay, so I've got my edges down. I think they look nice and tight. So I am going to go ahead, I think I've got enough tape in here to be able to place tape on the inside. And then I will place glue. Ran out of tape. I'm going to use the skinnier tape. Take a little bit longer, but where am I going in the rain? So I've got time. And I'm just going to place some strips of tape so that I don't have to place so much glue. And then I'm going to come all the way around here with tape. Okay, let's smooth this down, and then I can lift up my tape and we can place our inside cover. Okay, let me get this tape up and then I will be right back. Okay, so all of my tape is up, and now I can place my inside liner piece, and I will be placing it down with the map side showing on the inside. So all I'm going to do, because I've got tape all over this, now all I need to do is just go along the edges with a nice bead of glue so that this will stay stuck down. Last one. Okay, so I am going to take this, get my placement right, and lay this down. And then I'm going to come back in with my paper towel and just start smoothing the glue out. And then I'll come back in with my bone folder and do the same thing, pressing down the tape, but mainly I am smoothing out the glue. So now what I'll do is start coming in towards me, and I am setting my spine. Do the same thing on this side. And get my spine nice and covered. And I've got a nice spine on this. And one thing that I forgot to do, and I knew I was going to forget to do it, is I'll be adding a magnet. And I wanted to go ahead and place the magnet while I had the liner piece off. But because I'll be filling this with envelopes on the inside, it's going to cover the magnet. If you're not going to be placing anything on this side and you are going to be using a magnet, place your magnet before you put your liner piece in. Okay, so we've got this. And what I'm going to do now is I am going to take my magnet, which I should have done before. So I will take the magnet. I'm going to lay the book down, find my center mark, or what I think is center, and then I'll use the prongs of the magnet to come back and just squeeze down. And what that does, don't know if you can see these or not, but it gives me these little impressions right here and right here. And then I can take my finger X-Acto knife and just punch through. Find my other prong and then just punch through. And that way I can take my prongs and just punch them through the open holes. And then as always, I'll come back with my hammer and beat that down and close it. So we've got that part of the magnet on. And now what I want to do is I want to go ahead and place the notepad on the inside. And what I'll be doing is, to hide this ugly green here, is I am going to just take a cover piece and put it down on the notepad itself. So I'm just going to use a little bit of glue for this. I could use tape. And then I'm going to take this and just kind of smooth out that glue. Put this down. Get it nice and even. And then smooth it out. And then I'm going to take my bone folder and just come along the back side and get a score going. And then I also see on the side here where I can trim off just a little bit because I've got too much. There. So now I can take this and just fold it back. And I'm going to glue it down. And this just helps to give you that pretty look. And then I'll go across the top and just smooth that out. And then on this one, what I did was I added 2 brads, and I think I'm going to do the same thing with this one. So let me grab a couple of brads, and I think I'm going to go with gold again. And I'll be using my crocodile to punch these holes because I'm going through so many layers of paper. And I'm punching using the 1/8 hole. I'm going to do this away from the camera because it'll make the table shake. which might cause the camera to shake. So I'll be off camera doing this. Okay, so my holes are punched, and boy did it take some elbow grease to get the holes punched. But I'm going to set my brads. Get my brad opener here. And then let me do the other one. But I think placing these brads on here, it adds such a cuteness. And just finishes it off nicely. Okay, so there, we've got that all set. So I want to place this in the book. And I'm going to come back and take a look. And I am going to go ahead and just place some glue here, 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 and here. If you want, you can create a pocket to hold your pad so that you can attempt to get multiple uses out of this. I'm not, because it's not laminated or anything, so it's pretty much one of those one and done projects that I'll do. And when I do that, I just place a pad inside, knowing that because it's not laminated, the outside is probably going to get pretty beaten up over time. And therefore, once it's all used up, it'll be discarded. So now what I'm going to do is I am going to place envelopes on the inside, but I want to go ahead and make the third one with you guys on camera. So I am making an envelope that measures 2.5 by 2. And for that, I need to use a paper size that's 3 1/4 by 3 1/4, first punch at 2 1/8. So that's what I'm about to do. Going to punch at 2 1/8, and then I'll score, punch, score, line up my score mark with my pointer, punch, line up my score mark, and punch. And then I'm just going to fold this in to make my envelope. But I also want to remove a portion of this, and this tip came to me from Sue Noko. And Sue, I believe this is what you were talking about. If it isn't, if I have butchered your tip, please let me know. I think she was saying that she didn't really like the pointed part up, so I just decided I would remove it. So Sue, let me know if I misunderstood what it was you were communicating to me, and I'll correct it. But it really just all comes down to, your personal preference on these things, guys. Some of you will like the point up and some of you won't. So then for this piece here, I'm folding it backwards and I'm going to glue it down. And then I have this little button that I ran some twine through. I am going to place some glue on the back. And then I'll put my button down right at the mark where the V comes in on the envelope. And I'm just going to hold that down, make sure it's stuck. And then I'll come back with my bone folder and just kind of open that envelope a little bit. And now I can place these. So I know that I want to cover the magnet. So I am just going to place some glue on the back side. And starting with this one, I will place my envelope, making sure I've got it squared. And now I can place envelopes above and below it. And this is just an added little step for cuteness. You don't have to do it. And then I'll place that one. And I am going to put my final one down. But I think adding these envelopes just really are super cute. So I would recommend that you do it, but you don't have to do it. Okay. And when Prima makes a paper pad, they usually come out with coordinating embellishments and all types of ephemera that you can use on it. And that's what this is. So in the pack, there were some already pre-made tags. And I'm just going to tuck a few in here. And I may change them out later, but I simply wanted to give you a look of what you can do on the inside. And I think that is just absolutely adorable. So now we get to come across to the front, set this, and then decorate the outside. So what I'm going to do is, I think before I decorate the outside, I'm going to go ahead and place my ribbon. And I'm going to be using the same ribbon that you guys have seen me using all week. So I'm going to cut a piece. And I think I'm going to place that about right here. But I want it turned this way. So now I can take my glue and just place some glue. And because I'll be laying down the lace, I'm not really worried about the glue seeping through on the lace. So if it does seep through, that's simply going to help hold it down. So I'm kind of going along the scallop part and just doing a hit or miss with the glue. And now I'll flip it over. And I am going to place this down. I'm going to close this just to make sure that I've got it straight. Yep, that looks pretty good. So I'll come back with my paper towel and I'm just going to pat that down. And then I will let that dry. And now I can go ahead and put down the other magnet piece. So just like before, we will be using the prongs to make an impression for punching holes in which to insert the magnet. What I did was I took a piece of scrap paper that measures 2.5 by 5. I scored it at 1 and I scored it at 2 1/8, and then I just folded it onto itself and glued it down. That's how I'm getting this particular band. So let me take this piece. I need to do it on the back side. So make sure that when you're putting this down, you're putting it down so that the seams are on the inside. And I am going to just take this and press down and get impressions. So I've got 2 really good ones. And now I can come back and take my piercer and put that down. Just like that. So you want the actual magnet part on the inside where the seams are, because you don't want your seams on the outside. So then I'll take my hammer, close this, and now I can put this on just to see how far over it's going to go. And I am going to just trim off a little bit of this and a little bit of this. And I think that's perfect. So I am going to grab just a couple of brads. Okay, so I'm going to place brads on the back side of this, and the brads don't serve any purpose except decorative. They're not holding the strap in place. They're just going to be held down with hot glue, but they just give a nice finished look to the back side. So now what I'll do is I'll come back, place that back in, fold this over, get it the way that I want it, and then I will use hot glue to hold it down. So then once I've placed it with the hot glue, I am going to come back to the front just to make sure that the band is still straight. And it is. And now I can press down on the back. Hey guys, so now we get to decorate, and I am going to decorate identical to how I've been decorating all week. So I've got some twine. I am going to take some twine, place it right there, and then I'll take 2 of these lace rosettes, and I am going to place those there. And then I have a third one that I'll add hot glue to, and I will place it there. And now I can come back and just trim up a little bit of this twine. I'm not going to take off too much because I actually like the length of this. So you can see just how pretty that is. And then my final step will be to cover this part of the magnet prongs here. And the way that I'll be doing that is I have this really cute little dangle, and I am not a bead person. I don't make dangles. So what I do is I will go to the Goodwill store or the clearance racks in stores like Ross's or TJ Maxx and buy necklaces that are dangly looking, and then I'll take them apart and use them in my projects. So this necklace here was actually a double strand of 24 inches each, and I've been able to just whittle it away down to just a little bit left, but it had these cute little flowers on it, and I just dabbed some of the dolphin colored paint on it, and now I can lay it down on here. So what I'm going to lay it down with is I'm going to take just a little bit of E6000 and place it there. But to help that E6000 hold, I am also going to run some glue on the back, hot glue. And that way the E6000 will have a chance to set up and the hot glue will hold it down. So I'm just going to place that over the magnet, covering it up completely. And I think that looks great. So I'm going to bring the other one back in so that you can see these 2 beautiful little notebooks. So when we open them up, we've got these gorgeous insides. I think this is just fabulous and very functional. A great gift to give. Close them with our magnet. And we've got these cute little baubles on the outside. So if you don't want to use a magnet on this project, you can use Velcro, you can use a belly band, you can use any type of closure that works for you. I like to use magnets, but that doesn't mean that you can't do this project because you don't have any magnets. You can make it work with a lot of other things. I hope that you guys have liked this series. This is actually the final in the series. I hope you've liked it. And if you have, I hope that you will give this project a like. And if you're not a subscriber to my channel, I would love to have you join my online family. So please hit the subscribe button. You guys have a great day, and we will craft later. Bye.